Helicobacter pylori, not something you hear every day, but this stomach bug infects 50% of the world's population. It can be passed from person to person or through contaminated food and water. Helicobacter pylori, or H. pylori for short, is a bacteria. It has propeller-like tails called flagella, which allow it to move, and it likes to be in an environment with low amounts of oxygen. H. pylori lives in the stomach, and it has developed ways by which it can survive the harsh conditions there. These flagella help it to move through the thick stomach mucus, and it has developed a way to make the stomach less acidic. In the stomach, H. pylori can cause ulcers and sometimes stomach cancer. This was shown to be the case by two scientists, Marshall and Warren, who both drank a broth of H. pylori before inspecting their stomachs to show the negative effects of H. pylori, work which earned them a Nobel Prize in 2005. Only 20% of people infected with this bug get sick. Scientists from Oxford University have been asking why this is and have found some interesting answers. As well as factors such as a person's diet and genetics, it's down to the type of bacteria. Type 2 is considered a commensal. This means it can live happily with you in your stomach, causing no harm. Type 1, on the other hand, is much more infectious and can lead to stomach cancer. Dr. Ludovico Bucci and his team from Oxford thought that there must be something different between these strains, making one better causing sickness than the other. He set out to find out what. He designed a number of experiments which looked at the proteins that are being used by these strains. These proteins are made up of building blocks called amino acids. He saw that one part of these building blocks was different between strains. This part of the protein was called CAG-A and allowed the bacteria to enter and harm stomach cells. He used an animal model to show that bacteria without this CAG-A didn't have the same negative effects. He then wondered why this was and found another protein, ASP2. ASP2 interacts with CAG-A to switch off the immune response, which usually protects us from disease such as cancer. Under normal conditions, our body's immune system can get rid of invading bacteria like H. pylori, a system which this protein can switch off and therefore help the bacteria to stay alive. Dr. Ludovico Bucci is continuing to study the interaction between H. pylori and the stomach. But unlike the Nobel-winning scientists, he doesn't want to infect himself with this bug. He developed a new model to study the interaction between H. pylori and the stomach, an organoid. Dr. Bucci was able to take cells from a human and grow a stomach-like model, somewhat like a cocoon. Infection in this organoid perfectly resembles how the bacteria acts in our own body. This team of researchers can then use this model to show how this bug makes us sick and hopefully come up with some new medicine to treat people infected with H. pylori.